It's not about buying people's houses. Shinny, that's what separates us from the Seagulls is, we're not coming to you and we're like, sell me your house because I know you're in pain. No, we're like, hey, has anyone taken the time to go over a couple options to help you? That's sub two, right? That's the go-giver attitude.
All right. Good evening, everyone. Thank you for joining me on this Purpose Driven Investor podcast. Today, I have my friend John McAllister, joining me from Philadelphia area. I'm so stoked to have him to come on today. And I recently just have Johnny come to my local meet in Maryland. It was such a, I don't know, explosive result. Like everybody's still talking about it since you guys left. You guys come in, you sit at the door and just start talking about door knocking. So I'm so happy to have you. Thank you for making the time to join us today. How are you doing?
Good, absolutely. And that was so much fun. And didn't we call it like bring your own door?
Yeah, it was so fun.
But that was so much fun. Yeah, Shinny, thank you so much for inviting me on your podcast. So I'm so excited. Yeah, let's
Of
go.
course. I think I remember the first time I met you, you have such a amazing energy. Like I noticed like some people can just kind of naturally talk to people. You get to know them right away. They just hit it off so quickly. And I think that's why you've been very successful, doing deal in your market. And before we dive into what you currently do on a daily basis, can you give us a little bit of a snapshot of how you become where you are today?
I basically got introduced to real estate probably in like 2018. I dropped out of high school. I got my education diploma, my GED, which I call my ghetto education diploma. Excuse me. Then I went and got my associate's degree in civil engineering, and I went to Bible college when I was younger. But then that led up to in my late 30s, I started going to get my bachelor's degree. And I took all my credits and I started going to Lancaster Bible College online, which was, I got a dual major in business management and then biblical studies. Why do I tell that story? Because during that time while I was taking my business classes, I read the Purple Bible, Rich Dad, Poor Dad.
The Purple Bible.
So I read that in like 2018 and I got that real estate itch. That kind of started it all. And from there, I did a house hack, my first house I bought, and I lived in it for 2 years. I still hold it. It's a rental property now. That was like a 3-unit. I got an FHA to buy that. And then I did an add value property that I'm in right now, which I used a USDA loan. And then once I got from finishing this one, which I was rehabbing nights and weekends, I ended up stumbling into Pace at the end of 2022. And of course, the rest is history.
The rest is history. Interesting. So you have a civil engineering background.
Associate's degree in civil engineering, yeah.
Did you work on that field a little bit in the past and then decided that's not for you?
In my early 20s, I did a lot of labor and stuff. I worked for union companies, so I was always in the trenches. And then when I was going to school, I started working in the office for heavy highway construction, worked on a lot of heavy highway construction projects. And then the past 10 years before I went full time last year, I was working as a project manager for large site contractors. So a lot of these warehouses we see all over the country, I did a lot of the vertical work. So we would come in there, we would do clearing, we would do all the infrastructure like storm, sewer, water, and then curb, stone, and pave. And then the GC would build vertical. So I would do all the horizontal. I did that for 10 years.
I see. So it's like a ground prep basically before they come into
Before they build, yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. Moving dirt, all the bulldozers and excavators and all that fun stuff. Yeah.
Now I can see why you kind of naturally progress into running a commercial project because you already have that prior experience. Okay, so you decide to quit your W-2 and you call it a real estate bug, just like many of us.
Yeah.
And then when you first started, talk about doing some house hacking, fix and flip. Is that right?
Yeah, I did a house hack. I got an FHA loan, but as a first time homeowner, it's perfect because it's 3.5% down. So I saved a little bit of money and I had this house that my mortgage was about $1,600, but my rent income was $1,000. So it wasn't, as Robert Kiyosaki would say, a full asset, but it was getting close to it. So I was literally paying paying $600 a month for a fully rehabbed 3-bedroom, 1 bath, which was super cheap for me. Yeah.
Right.
Family.
And is it still the same house that you're living right now, or is it?
No, this is the add value. This house, I got a USDA loan, and
Oh, I see.
yeah, which is 0%.
But then, yeah.
Yes. Here's a side story. When I was applying for this loan, because you technically can't have an FHA and a USDA, my mortgage broker told me, no, John, you don't qualify for a USDA loan because you make too much money. And I'm like, really? So had I just stopped there, I started doing my own research. I had my stepson, he was in high school. Then I had my 3 kids. So I had 4 kids plus my wife plus me. And I'm like, hey, Mr. Mortgage Broker, I have like 5 dependents. And he's like, oh, yeah, you do qualify. I'm like, geez, bro, like you're the expert. And you told me no. And had I listened, I would not be standing here today. So that's a reminder for me to ask why no. Like when someone says no, say, well, why?
That's why, and always dig deeper. This is very similar to how, how we have a lot of conversation with the veteran. They're like, well, I already have one VA loan. I can't get another one, which is
Yeah.
totally not true because it's all about the entitlement. So now you and I both know, but I'm sure there's a lot of veteran out there still think that, okay, I just bought a house and used one VA loan. I'm tapped out, which is not true. So kudos for you to not giving up.
Heck yeah. And what was interesting, when I had my FHA loan, I bought that house and I just had my 3rd child. So that was a 3-bedroom, 1 bath. I had a younger son and 2 daughters. Once they came to a certain age, that was part of my hardship letter of why I am now applying for a USDA loan, even though I have an FHA loan, because technically, if you move out of state, like so many miles away due to work, you can then have an FHA and a USDA loan, or if your family expands. So we technically outgrew the original house. Again, that was another reason why I got approved, so which was awesome.
Wow. Yeah, that's make a huge difference because then you're 0% down. You don't have to put in money. Let's dive into what you do nowadays, right? So, because I know you now doing real estate full time. Tell us about what you've been working on.
And technically, I didn't quit my day job. I was technically fired in a nice way. Said, hey, we're going to do away with your position because I was the only project manager in the company, just to get that clear. But after that, I started doing pre-foreclosures, door knock. I always did pre-foreclosures, like texting when I first started sub 2. I was doing that last year. And then I met Iran. So I started doing like Pace Way. I started taking my previous skills as a project manager, which I actually didn't do this for like a year because I basically was like, go pound sand, W2. I don't ever want to think about you again. Then it's like, wow, I got all this experience. Why not go to somebody and add that value? So
Get
yeah, so
compensated for it. Yeah.
exactly. So door knocking, pre-foreclosures, and then helping Duran with the project management aspect of Paceway Community Development, which has been awesome.
So Duran, I just interviewing his episode is probably gonna be like ahead of you. He's a very successful commercial guy. That's why he said to me, I went Brandon's a commercial guy. I do everything commercial, apartment building, mixed use, anything you think about commercial buildings. That's awesome that you get to contribute your previous skill and then get compensated. Is it like a flexible hour that fits your schedule?
Absolutely. Full disclosure, when I was at my W2, I was focused, but there'd be times where somebody would reach out to me and I'd be like texting somebody. I'd walk outside to get on the phone with a seller. It's more flexible. I have commitments to be there because I have an office next to Duran's office in his office. Like if I have to get on the phone with a seller, it's not a big deal. Duran's an entrepreneur working with entrepreneurs. We typically don't have just one hat. We're wearing more.
Right. Multiple.
So I had more flexibility. Absolutely.
Well, I'm gonna ask you more on the pre-foreclosure door knocking side because I know that's also a grind. It takes certain persistence and it takes certain personality. I know you have that personality to talk to people. You link up with people pretty quickly. But what would you say the most challenging part?
It's still unbeatable as far as like if you want to get your first deal. If you need money, you need like a lump sum amount of money. To me, it's the lowest hanging fruit. Last year in September, I made the most money I had ever made in 1 month. We closed like 3 deals, which was awesome. So that's the biggest lesson. And then also like the mindset. The mindset is like, oh, people are going to yell at me and this, and that. Out of like 500 doors, you might get 2 people that cuss you out. And so what? If we have a W-2, we drive from our house to our office 1,000 times, you get cussed out a couple times, even on the highway, because somebody cut in front of you or you're going slow, you're getting beat at and cussed out and middle fingers thrown at you. So it's not a big deal. And the other thing is, like, when you knock on people's door, like the lady today, like I was literally in her house. The house was probably one of the worst houses I've ever walked through. Like, her fiance passed away a couple years ago. She struggled with substance abuse. She's got grandkids she's taking care of, all this different scenarios. And she's just going through stuff. A lot of people that I knock on, it's not like they just decide, oh, I don't want to pay my bill no more. Like, life happens. One of the houses that we bought in the past, like, the husband had cancer, couldn't work no more. They got 3 young kids who are like in middle school. And now the father, who's my age, like in their 40s, is going to die. That's something big that I've learned too.
It's a lot of life sometimes sad story is kind of hard to see those people feeling stuck. And then for you to kind of have to go through that, then you have to first get your mindset right, it sounds like. And then you have to convince them in a way that you're helping them to make sure that they see that. Because a lot of they're stuck. They don't see no way out. I don't remember who said this to me. You never know the next door that you knock. You could be literally the answers to their prayer. You just don't know. I love that quote so much because you feel like you're trying to convince them, because it's not every time selling the house the best solution. Sometimes go to them, you give them some tips and then point them to the right direction.
I have one right now. I knocked on that person's door. His windshield wipers were sticking up in the air and it's midsummer. And I'm like, this house is
What?
vacant. Who does that, right? It actually wasn't vacant. He just stayed at his mom's house down the street. And what he told me is the pine needles get all clogged in there. So I assumed it was vacant. So I went to his house last week. I talked through it and he had already had cash offers. And I'm like, you're probably better off listing this house on the MLS. So I referred him to my friend Nicole, who's a realtor up here, also sub two. She's a unicorn agent. And now Nicole is literally tomorrow signing a listing agreement.
Agreement.
And he's going to get $50,000 more in his pocket. To him, I'm like, I'd love to buy your house for 300 or 310, but
Right.
if you list it with an agent, you're going to
More
get
money.
more thousand. So, and he said today, he's like, I feel like I'm cutting you out. I'm like, it doesn't matter. I'm more about people over profit. It's okay.
So good. That's why I want you to come, because I'm very selective who I invite to come to the podcast. I only wanted to invite people who have a good heart. We're not only looking for the profit. I love how you said that, people over profit.
People over profit. Because I personally worked for profit over people and then people over profit. And that always stuck with me when I heard that. So I said to him, I'm like, look, I told you early on, I'm more people over profit. And I was like, I believe in God. Some people believe in karma, the universe, whatever. It's all going to come back. God willing, he'll list his house on the market. He's got an auction coming up in a couple weeks. Hopefully, I'll be able to help Nicole to get the auction postponed. And if not, I might fall back and do a novation, something like that. So yeah, going back to, it's not about buying people's houses. Do I want to buy people's houses? Absolutely. Shinny, that's what separates us from the Seagulls is, we're not coming to you and we're like, sell me your house because I know you're in pain. No, we're like, hey, has anyone taken the time to go over a couple options to help you? That's sub two, right? That's the go-giver attitude. We're entering the conversation. We're knocking on someone's door. We're getting on the phone with somebody to bring value.
I love it. That's right. Like, if he doesn't sell on the market, there's not enough interest on it, you can always kind of take it back. His first post, I'm definitely going to make the you and say, hey, now we need to maybe take it back, do an ovation, and then maybe get it fixed up and get a more premium pricing. That's kind of changed gear a little bit, because I know you're very involved with Duran's project. Can you kind of share with us, how does that look like nowadays, overseeing a commercial built out project looks like? Because it's a ground up built.
Yeah, this is actually single family homes. There's like 5 of them. They're like 1.5 million single family homes. Like I mentioned, I did a lot of the warehouses. So to build 5 little homes, they're like 4,500 square feet. So they're huge. Told Duran, I've done hundreds of these big projects. So this project's like a walk in the park. But even small projects as big projects, they all have issues and things that you deal with. It's cool because I get to, first off, work with Duran, which he's like high level. It's like I always jokingly say, if I was in Arizona, I'd be like, Pace, can I mow your lawn and like clean your pool? Like, how can I hang out with you? So that's awesome. But as far as like where we're at, we broke ground. We started clearing probably about 4 weeks ago. We had a clearing sub. They came in, they cut all the trees down. And then from there, they demoed the house. There was a garage. And then Pace was actually on site for the ribbon cutting. And he like started the demo with the excavator. Yeah. So that was very cool. Yes. We cleared everything, demoed everything. You put in the ENS controls for the conservation district so you don't have runoff when you're doing a construction site. Then they started bringing in fill because it's an import project, which means we got to truck in like 5,000 cubic yards. We're building all of the storm management, which is the basin. So all that's pretty much stabilized right now. And we ran the storm up the main Paceway street. And then from there, we're going to start installing the sanitary on Monday. So with the sanitary running perpendicular to the entrance to the site, there's a main that goes across there, a sanitary main. And then about 750 feet at the next intersection, there's a water main. So this is important if you ever want to do a new construction. One of the first questions that I ask is, where is the tie-ins for the water and the sanitary? So we're going to run the sanitary, we're going to tie into the existing main, and then after we're done there, we're going to run across the street and then run up the side of the road to tie into the main for the water. We're going to curb, stone, and pave. And from a project management perspective, it's always important to know your schedule and your timeline. We're projected to go with the base coat, which is like it's probably like 4 inches of the blacktop or the asphalt. So what you do is you put the base coat down, which you'll have the curb already in, and then you'll do the base coat. And then from there, you can technically start going from horizontal to vertical because that's in the plans. It doesn't say like this, but it basically says you can't start building a house until you put the base coat down. So that's like a milestone. So that's projected probably first week of October.
Where does the foundation come in?
So once you do the base, we're going to start the foundation probably a week after, and then they'll start building the foundations. Yup. Me and Alex from Sub 2, we actually have a phone call with the foundation guy just to go through his numbers. We were trying to do it tomorrow, so probably Monday. Like I said, you can't technically start building houses until you follow the sequence per the conservation district.
And a lot of ground-up build is the cost that you have to absorb, right, as a person will lead the project. I guess I'm trying to understand. They seem to be tying into a public utility,
Right.
water or sewage. They don't cover any of that connection. It's all falling onto the developer.
A lot of this stuff is more Duran, but I know he had to pay a lot of money because they calculate per house of how many gallons of water is going to come in, how many gallons of water are going to come off for the sewer. So then you got to pay like all these additional fees and this fee and that. I had to drop off enough money that I could buy a small single family house off to this sewer authority yesterday so that they can have that in escrow. There's a lot of money that is involved. And everybody's like this in the government with their hand out.
You went through a private coaching with Pace and you came out, I would say, a brand new person.
When I was asked to leave my W-2 or basically got fired, I did door knocking. I probably knocked 1,000 doors last year. And then, like I said, I had my biggest month in September. But then from there, I started, let me do agent outreach. Let me do this challenge. Let me do that challenge. Let me build this team. Let me do that. Instead of just doing what worked, I went off onto rabbit trails. Being an owners club, we have contact with Pace. I'm like, hey, I kind of shared some of the things that I was going through. And I think it was at Squad Up Summit 2025 when we had our owners club dinner. We were all taking pictures with Pace. He's like, yo, I got your voice memo. I've been thinking about it. He's like, let's schedule a one-on-one. Because I was trying to get a one-on-one on the first year, but I guess he kind of tapped that out. I scheduled that with him after Squad Up Summit. My biggest pain point was active, consistent income. So he like talked to me about the importance of protecting what he called your hut. And he basically framed it up like, John, if you were a samurai warrior in a village and behind you was your hut with your family inside that hut and the village was under attack, you would not put the town idiot in front of your hut and then go help somebody else. You can't do that. Like, you have to stand and protect your hut. And then he asked me, John, like, if somebody put a gun to your leg and said you need to make $30,000 in 1 month or I'm going to shoot you in your leg, what would you do? Almost immediately what comes to me is door knock, right? Because I did that. I
Right.
did it.
Yeah.
So if I had to, like, if it was like a life or death situation, I would go out and door knock. But at that point, I was doing long on market agent outreach. So I was like, oh, I'm gonna do, both of them, and I was kind of torn. And I even like re-listened to it like a couple weeks ago.
Right.
He just told me, like, you can go work with Duran, you can go help people, you can go do meetups and this and that. He's like, but you got to focus 3, 4 hours a day, non-negotiable. Turn your freaking phone off. Don't let no one distract you and focus on your money-making activity. It took me a couple months for that to really sink in, but it was probably like 90 days ago where I'm like, okay, I got to stop with the agent outreach. I got to stop with the man versus machine. I got to stop with all this stuff and I need to focus on my hut. So I went back to door knocking. And at that time, I was starting with Duran. So I'm like, okay, I'm committed to Duran. What else can I do? Well, of course, door knocking. And I started door knocking. And the lady that I walked through today, she was door number 49. And I followed up with her like 35 times. And she literally signed like 8:15 and her auction was like 8:27. But I first knocked on her door in June. And this is the thing, when I knock on someone's door, I'm like, hey, like, I'm here to help you, whatever, go over options. And one of the things that I say is I try to get them to say if they either want to save their house or sell their house. So I said to her, you want to save your house? And she's like, no, I actually want to sell my house. So then my whole entire conversation goes from helping somebody to save to, okay, how can I buy her house? And what number does that need to be? So that was in June. And then I scheduled a walkthrough with her. I scheduled the signed paper, and that went 35 times. And I literally thought she was like, she's going with somebody else. She's ghosting me. But that was door 49. And I got it signed on 8:15 of the month, and her auction was 8:27. I got that postponed, and now we're 9/11. I finally got into her house today. There's a lot, but she got a lot of cats and stuff.
Oh, she's a cat lady, huh?
She's got a lot, yeah.
So what would you say the breakthrough point though? Because it obviously took you a whole bunch of different touch points. What was the key conversation you feel like she finally realized that, yes, time to part way?
So Michael Franke always says, like, people typically sign when they first get a notice of default and then like the last
That's one.
3 to 2 weeks before the auction. I think for me, it was just following up with her and constantly texting and not getting frustrated and pissed off and just going on her timeline until that day when she was 2 weeks from the auction. She's like, I know I have to do this. And then she signs. When I informed her, like, hey, just an FYI, they did accept our request to postpone the auction. Her response to me was, oh my gosh, I don't know what I would have done without you. Thank you so much. To the question of what was like the point, I think it was just those touch points.
Just the timing is
Yes,
rare. Yeah.
yes. And following up and just keeping in contact with her until that window when all of us can relate to procrastination. Whether it's trash nights Tuesday night, I know I got to take the trash out, and then you go out in the morning and you're like, I'll do it later. I'll do it later. Then you fall asleep Tuesday night and it's like, and you're like, oh my gosh, trash night. And then you run out there, right? We all procrastinate. That's just one little small thing, but she's just in like so much, she's got a lot of stuff going on. So that was a big win for me. And then I'm still working on door 79. That lady, her husband is in the hospital right now with a tumor. She should be signing tomorrow. It's like a paradigm shift for me because last year when I first started, it took me 250 doors to get my first deal. That's a lot. But now I'm only on, I think I knocked within like the last 100 days, like 215. And I already have like 3 or 4 like really good leads. And with door knocking, one deal is like, it's 20, 30 grand a pop. So I see the difference from last year to this year. So now going back to the one-on-one with Pace, protecting my hut. So, and here's another thing I don't do. I don't beat myself up like, oh my gosh, I got to knock 20 doors. I got to knock 20 doors or 25 doors. I got to spend 10 hours. No, I'm just consistent and I niche down my list. Like Monday, I knocked 6 doors. Yesterday, I knocked 6 doors. Today, I only knocked 1 door. Why? Because I was in the office. I was calling people. So now I'm blending out in the field and then calling the list to save a little bit of time. And then this one door that I knocked tonight, I had to go meet door number 49, walk through her house, and then it's like 4:30, and I didn't knock on this door in the evening yet. And I know his auction's in 2 weeks, and I knocked on the door and he answered. My tactics, the way that I'm looking at it, I'm like niching down. I'm basically following Michael Frankie. Like I can't say my credit. I can't take that credit because I'm focusing on notice of defaults. When people get that notice of default in the beginning, and then I'm focusing on the last couple weeks. And then I'm taking my list of 30 houses, and then it's like, oh wow, there's only 8 houses that are still active on the auction. Let me focus on these people and just keep going around until you get one locked
Right.
up.
I can see your KPI definitely improve a lot since the last year. And then I think you're also being more strategic about how to kind of fit that into your workday. It sounds like you have
Yeah.
sometimes you knock doors, sometimes you can, but you get on the phone. Like sometimes you're walking to the project to help with the run, but in between you can pick up someone on a phone call.
And I'm also JVing with people. So, Mike Ahmad, we're going to be closing, God willing, on a deal within the next couple weeks. And Owners Club member Severo, I tried to see if he wanted to buy it, but he actually brought a buyer. So he's going to make probably like 5 grand, which I don't care because our number, he got a buyer for our number.
Yeah.
And then Mike Ahmad, he was knocking in counties that now I don't have to knock, but Mike's out there knocking. But he's working on being a closer, but he would say he's not a closer right now. So on this door, the lady didn't even answer. He just put the sticky note and the number on there got forwarded to my phone, and I'm able to get on the phone. I was able to build rapport, and we were able to get her under contract. And Mike, this is his first deal, and this is exciting. This goes back to people over profit. We're going to split that with him 50-50. He's going to make probably like 11 grand, but it's going to be his first deal. And that dude's been knocking like hardcore. That's an exciting moment. Of course, I'm going to get some money, but now I get to help another sub 2 student get their first deal, and then also break those paradigms that they have that I had. Oh my gosh, I'm not good enough. This isn't going to work. Like this is for somebody else. No, I just freaking did it. Like I got a check now. It just shows that this works. Yeah, that's exciting.
Right. And I love your analogy about you have to protect your hut. That's your active income. You have to make time for it, and nothing can stand in the way.
You know who my biggest culprit is of stopping me from protecting my hut?
Yourself?
Myself.
Mm.
Absolutely. Absolutely. That's why I'm learning not to beat myself up. Just be strategic, John, like sniper focus. If you can't knock 20 doors, you can knock 6 and then go home and then dial for a couple hours. Definitely mindset is killer. And we can all relate to that if we've ever tried to go to the gym. Well, do I really want to go today? Like, it's so nice out. That's our biggest enemy.
Yeah, the excuses that we give to ourselves sometimes. I'm struggling sometimes. It was like, especially when you look outside, the weather's not great. You just, I don't feel like going.
Yeah.
But now we can identify that sign, meaning, like, oh,
Yes.
shoot, that's the old me trying to tell me go back to the easy way. Let's try not to do that. And so that's great that it sounds like you have a really good breakthrough after that. You're just being very focused. Share a couple of maybe just door knocking encounter with us. I think a lot of people door knock. The reason you're very successful is because you approach it a different way. You have a way to make it like you're not just like any other people knock on the door. What are the usual unconventional opening line you will have?
My line is pretty much the same. I kind of tweaked it a little bit. It's always the same thing. And I always tell people, like, once you get through that intro and you break down through their walls and their barriers, then you just have a conversation. So it's basically, knock, knock. Hey, Shinny, my name's John. I was just stopping by to see if anyone has just taken some time to go over options to help with your lenders. It seems like they're giving you some issues. The other thing that I say is, my name's John. I'm just stopping by to see if anyone is taking time. And I go through the same intro. But that new phrase that I started using is gold. And again, it goes back to, and I can't take the credit, it's Michael Frankie. Hey, I'm guessing you have this handled. I'm just like,
Pressure, like literally no pressure. Yeah.
it's not like, hey, Shinny, you're a fool and I'm here to help you. It's, hey, Shinny, I'm guessing you have this handled. But the reason why I'm stopping by is because I checked today and it seems like your lenders are giving you some issues.
Right. Or maybe they're making a mistake. Oh, you say you have it taken care of? Oh, okay. They must have making a mistake. Have you tried to call them? Like,
Yeah, yeah. But that's it. I mean, it's not if you get a pre-foreclosure list and you connect with me or somebody else that you can kind of like when you get stuck, say, you know what, that's a really great question. My partner Shinny, she has helped hundreds of people stop auction. Can I get your cell phone? But if you just get those foreclosures and knock on people's door and just use that intro and just have a conversation, like you'll get a deal. And what's sick about door knocking is the numbers don't lie. Like I know ChatGPT Pace, if you ask him, he'll say 100 doors knocking 3 times, you will get a deal. That's 300. The old statistic that I always heard was like 150 doors equals one deal. It's low compared to getting on a dialer and dialing 5,000 numbers to get one deal.
Right.
So,
Yeah.
yeah.
So it's usually that level, right? If you're going an easier way, sitting in front of the computer and just dialing, it's gonna get through over 5,000 call. Maybe you have one quality conversation. But as you go out, your time is limited, and you knock 100 door, you might get 2 or 3 on the contract. The rate is just astonishingly much better than
Yes.
cold dialing.
Heck yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome. So happy it's working out great for you that you make a adjustment to change your mindset a little bit and really narrow down.
But I'm the type of person, if I walk into a room and I have like my kids' stuff hanging on the wall, if that said like wet paint, don't touch, I would touch.
Give me that. Ooh, I want to touch it.
Yeah, is it really wet? But I'm thankful that I went through all that, and it was through pain, hardship, time, loss of money to where I know today what I need to do. Like, I know what my hut protecting activities are. I can't deviate from that. Like, I got to do it. It's like going to the gym. Like, today I was behind on schedule and I couldn't go to the gym and do like a full workout, but I just went and got on the elliptical and I was there for 30 minutes. I sweat a little bit. To me, that's like knocking 6 doors compared to knocking 25. And it's just that consistency every single day or during your sessions when you determine, okay, I'm going to do 3 sessions of door knocking per week. I'm going to do 3 sessions of calls, whatever it is, and just being consistent. And then we rewire our mindset, right? You know this.
And also the time for your own health. That's so important. And then every time we tell ourselves we're gonna do this and we fail to do that, that's really just your brain's gonna mess with like, okay, you told me you're gonna do this, but you failed doing that on Monday. That was excuses. Are you gonna do it again on Tuesday? At some point, we just have to really just show up. Like even though we couldn't, like you said, like couldn't do the full workout, but you still got there. You still show up and did some of the workout. I'm sure you feel great after that.
Absolutely. And it was hard there. Like I had to watch a couple Tony Robbins short videos. I had to talk to Tony Robbins, ChatGPT. If anyone says that it's easy and like it's not, and it's you have your ups and downs and you have your off days and your on days. But what's cool, we're in sub two. We have as Caroline Kane says, the campfire. You get around people that are around the campfire you want to be at, and then you get recharged, you get warmed up, and then you're ready to go.
Surround yourself with the right people. That's most important. Thank you for sharing all the mistakes you learned and how you readjust your route, refocus your investment journey, and now you're back on track to focus on something that you're really good at to make the ongoing active income work while still working on the side with the ROM, do some fun project to work on that as well. So thank you so much for sharing all that.
Yeah, thank you.
Is anybody wanted to reach out to you? They need some help on the door knocking side. Are you taking requests for specific market or you're taking requests for any market?
So you can reach out to me on DM. We actually have a door knocking team all around the country. My partner Colin, he's part of Niche Community. So we have 15 counties. So we have people that we partner with, JV, just like Mike, who, they go, they talk to people, they don't answer, they put a sticky note on the door. In Texas, around the triangle there, Houston, Dallas, in Florida, Atlanta, Georgia, Chicago, California, specific counties with a high pre-foreclosure rate. We actually partner with them. I think we have like 6 people now that knock on a regular basis per week. So we just started that probably 45, 60 days ago. And then Mike, who actually does it local, he'll be one of the first using that model to kind of close a deal, which is exciting. So we try to partner more with like sub 2 people as far as like being on teams and stuff, only because we have that sub 2 mindset. But if anyone's looking for help to stop an auction, to talk to a seller, looking to JV on a deal, yeah, feel free to reach out. Like I'm all about helping people and I'm all about doing deals. And that really, as long as it's not New York, you're pretty good.
Or California?
Well, California, isn't as bad as New York.
Is it because of foreclosure law that's taking forever? It just keep extending?
Yeah, and then in New York, if you're gonna sell your house, like, you have lawyers to lawyers. So, if I wanted to buy your house, I couldn't even talk to you, really. I gotta talk to your lawyer. It's like it's ridiculous. And then the pre-foreclosure laws, yeah, you can literally not pay your mortgage for, like, 10 years before they really.
Wow.
Yeah, it's bad. So
By that time, you might just hand it back. I'm gonna put your Instagram. That's your preferred method of being connected, right? So we'll
yep.
put your Instagram handle in the description so people can reach out to you. Thank you so much again, Johnny MC. I gotta have you come back to my meetup again to maybe share what you've done since last time I talked to you. Hopefully that innovation will work out. If it doesn't get sold on the market, we can have you share about that. Thank you.
Thanks, Shinny.